You talk about identity politics and you couch it in terms of individual freedom, free speech, but for many others, they will see your position as the erosion of hard-fought anti-discrimination laws protecting women and gays, the disabled, Indigenous Australians, among others. How do you respond to those concerns?
I think John put it very well in the introduction, right? The liberal ideal was always, certainly in John Stuart Mill's time, and up until very recently, was that we should all be treated the same. And at some point in the last 30 years, the broad mass of the left, instead of campaigning for everyone to be treated the same, started campaigning for everyone to be treated differently. For people to be given either social or educational or indeed legal privileges, to be treated differently under the law on the basis of belonging to some imagined victim group. And I think where they're coming from, when you say, understand the other side's argument, is they're not really interested in equality, let alone freedom for individuals. They see the world as a pyramid of power, and everything is defined by where you are in that hierarchy. So quite recently I was in California, in a small town where they'd recreated or restored a kind of a Spanish mission. And all of the wall text was written in terms of kind of implied racial and cultural subjugation. And the fascinating thing was the first part was all about the poor indigenous people being oppressed by these evil, wicked Spaniards. And then suddenly, when the English-speaking people arrived on the scene, the Spanish went from being the oppressors to being the victims. I mean, they would have presumably been the same people. But from one day to the next, their position was defined by something else. Now, that seems to me the most objectionable and illiberal idea.
Okay, but in the local contemporary context, we in Australia have had a big debate over the last few years about whether the government should change or amend the Racial Discrimination Act, which presently outlaws some speech that may offend, insult, humiliate or intimidate. Let me ask you a question that many of my ABC colleagues, it's my other job, believe it or not, at the ABC's Radio National, they will all too often ask, and it's a good one, how do you best protect a person who has, because of their colour of their skin, has been refused a job, a room at a hotel or a service in a pub?
Well, the first point is, I think we're all agreed that incitement, which is an old common law offence, will remain an offence, right? And it is important to distinguish between an opinion and a call to violence. And this is something which, on a common sense level, everyone understands, right? If you say there are too many Archenlanders in Narnia, that is an opinion. It's only when you say, right, let's go and throw a few of them into Winding Arrow River that you have crossed the line into incitement.